Looks like we've got people continuing to sign in. Good morning, everyone. Want to try and kick off here pretty quickly. I see some familiar names in the group. A few housekeeping things while we're waiting. Many of you saw that we're going to give away a Amazon gift card for attending one individual from today's attendance. And Tyler, you want to explain how that's going to go?
Yeah, towards the end of the presentation here, I will just download the attendee list of the meeting, and that spits me out an Excel file, and I'll just create a randomized number in there between the number of participants we have, and that'll determine the draw, and I'll notify that person.
Perfect. All right. Well, I hope our speaker is able to get back on here. I know he has some family learnings that he has to tend to at his house, so hope that's why he just quick stepped away, and we'll be back. But my name is Nick Kern. I am the founder and CEO of Numbers for Nonprofits. We help nonprofits manage money with mission. What that is primarily is accounting, and we do take care of people's day-to-day accounting, month-end financials, annual budgeting, and if you are audited, we will help you with your outside audit preparations. We can also do some projecting and forecasting as well. We work with about 70 clients. We've got a team of 15 people right now, and we really enjoy being part of the nonprofit community in both Dane County and a little bit in the Milwaukee area as well. We do breakfast with benefits to provide you with a professional who has some expertise in the subject matter that they'll be presenting at. So Ron and I go way back. Initially, he and his wife came to me for the organization they started, Geo's Garden, and we've been working with them as their accountant on that. And subsequent to that, I learned that he does some really great work with social media, and as part of his flexibility with his family situation, he does freelance. And so he and I have developed a relationship where he does unfriend social media, and I've had a number of people contact me or comment to me on how well our brand is portrayed out on social media. So I have nobody but Ron to thank. Well, that's not true. There's a few internal people who contribute to that as well, but Ron drives the bus as far as this goes. So as soon as I see him, or Ron, shout when you're ready to go. You're here? Great.
Yep.
All right. So without further ado, I'll let Ron give more of his credentials and get into the meat of his projection. Thanks for being here, Ron.
Thanks for having me and for getting me out of virtual high school in 6th grade for first period today. Hope everyone's doing well. I recognize and see some people that I know, and others that I don't. So let me see if I can. Do I have the screen control yet to share my screen?
You should be able to, Ron.
Okay. There we go. And we're gonna take. Okay, so can you see? Hopefully,
Thumbs up.
Okay, great, thanks. Thank you all for having me. I'm going to talk today to all of you about budgeting and a little bit of creating content, advertising content for your next fundraiser. Many of you, or some of you, or have probably done Facebook ads or boosted posts. If some of you have not, there'll be a little bit of high-end stuff in what I'm going to tell you today, and then others of you who have, I'm hoping that I can show you a little bit of tips or tricks that I have learned over the years of doing advertising on mainly on Facebook and Instagram, but as well as Twitter and LinkedIn for business clients. Here we go. All right. Well, that's me a few years ago. So I have basically created content since 1991. I was, man, how old was I? 15 years old. And I walked into a radio station and asked to work for free because I wanted to be in broadcast news. Since from then on, I was a radio and TV news producer. I ended up here at WKOW, and Charlotte ended up at WISC. I was the assistant news director until 2009 there. Then I went to work for the state, and then Midwest Family Broadcasting as the content director for Midwest Family Marketing. They started a digital firm there, and I built their social media and content creation for websites from the ground up for their digital team, which mainly helped radio clients around the Midwest. And also with Charlotte in 2009, kicking and screaming, she dragged me into starting Geo's Garden. And we'll probably hear Geo stomping downstairs at some point soon because he has to go to class. Well, class on a computer. We started it in 2009, and it was our first round of fundraising was all through social media, and learned a lot through it. And back then, there wasn't a lot of paying to get yourself seen, so it was it was obviously a little bit easier because Charlotte was on TV, but and there was a lot of word of mouth and a lot of spreading and sharing through Facebook. Also, I'm a huge Star Wars nerd, and I'm coming up on seeing the band Fish almost 100 times now since 1995. I know, it's weird. Okay, so the first thing I want to talk about is Facebook advertising does work. I'm a Star Wars fan, so I saw this ad the other day and I stopped and clicked on it to see what it was and how much it costs and all that. Facebook, by the way, accounts for 9% of total digital advertising spending around the world, 18.4% of mobile digital advertising. So that's, while that's globally, it's important to see that 18.4% on phones is a pretty big deal. Average time for Facebook users has actually gone down a little bit, which I believe to be good. Shouldn't really spend all your time on here. But what's important for this is that an average Facebook user will click on 11 ads per month. So if you think about that and how many times, however long you're on Facebook and how many ads you see in general, consider how many ads you might click on. And I think 11 is pretty high on and I'm not sure about yours. I'm getting a notification. You guys can still hear me or? Okay, great. Thanks, Nick. And Facebook accounts for 80% of social referral share to e-commerce sites. So that means that Facebook is sending a whole bunch of people to sites where you're going to purchase something. So this is where you're thinking, well, what really is good? Are we talking about like purchasing here? So how would this translate to you? So while you're not selling a product, you are definitely selling something. So if we're talking about fundraisers, you're selling an event and you're offering entertainment. So how then do you look at this like are trying to get people to purchase a product from you? You should be looking at this as a way to target new people that might not have ever heard of you, or have possibly heard of you and don't really know what you're about. You could also use ads to get yourself some new volunteers. And also even new donors who might not be able to go to your event, but you want to try and get them involved in the organization. So many of you on your nonprofit pages, or if there's people here who are not from nonprofits, either have, on your Facebook page, like a link to donate, which Facebook a few years ago put up and made it easy for anybody at any time to donate to your nonprofit. Or if you're a business owner, you can put like link to website on there, or phone number for calls and all that. So Facebook I have found to be probably the cheapest advertising venue right now among the social media platforms to get you the more bang for your buck. And it will all depend on your goals. And we're going to go over some of the goals that I think are the best for nonprofits. I'm going to show you the back end for some who haven't seen it. And there are lots of things back there. And Facebook tends to change it about every 3 months and not tell anybody. And then you have to kind of figure out what the sort of stuff is. And they have tutorials on there, but once you think you got it, Facebook likes to change it on you. And I think that one of the most important things that social media platforms have allowed you to do is to take your email list, upload it to their platforms, and hit them with ads. It's a lot easier. And if you don't know how to do that, I'm gonna talk about that today. So if you're not using Facebook Business, this is really where you should be, I think, for any of your business pages, but especially if you are going to be running ads on Facebook. Yes, it's easy to get on your regular Facebook page and click to go to your page and do updates and stuff, but Facebook has integrated a new system in business, and it's called Facebook Suite, where if you have an Instagram account and a Facebook account, you can monitor everything in one place. You can post to both. You can message on both places instantaneously. And Facebook Business has all of these tools for it, including your ads manager, your ads reporting, and your audiences. And the audiences is what's going to help you a lot when it comes to determining who you're supposed to target, and why you would want to target these people and things like that. So if you are signed into your Facebook account and you just hit facebook.business.com, you'll already be logged in using your Facebook account, and you can start the process from there. It'll walk you through it. So where do you start when it comes to putting together an ad campaign for your event? So first things first, as with always, what's your goal? Well, obviously your goal is to get as many people to the event and make a lot of money. But which of the goals on Facebook is going to be the best one for you? I have crossed out get more website purchases. It's important to know that Facebook is looking more for e-commerce people for product selling, because there's more of those than there are of us. So if you are selling items and stuff, you could do website purchases, but I've never used it for Geo's Garden hasn't ever used it. Some of you might have boosted a post. I'll talk a little bit more about that at the end. You can also boost an Instagram post now. That has changed. The good thing about Facebook advertising is that you can put your ads automatically on Facebook, on Instagram. You can choose if you want it in the marketplace. You can choose if you want it to pop up in messages. You can decide, if you're ever watching a video on Facebook and suddenly an ad pops up, you can put your ad on there as long as it's a video ad. If you're reading an article that you've hit on your phone and you're scrolling through it and then an ad pops up, you can place your ad there to the right people. So I think it's fantastic. Get more leads. I would turn that into, for any of you, into get more email contacts. There is a chance for you to use Facebook to try and get more people into your database. Just know that when you're looking at getting more leads, it can be pretty expensive. LinkedIn is like the most expensive advertising when it comes to what trying to get new employees and stuff. And when you try to get more leads on Facebook, because Facebook is trying to send you leads who will more than likely leave you information and want to do business with you, that they charge more for that. If you want to get people to interact with you on messages, that's a pretty simple goal. That, though, would require somebody being on Facebook pretty much all business days, and getting notifications and answering messages. Simply promoting your page is a good way to get fans. That's not really going to help you, though, I believe, when it comes to trying to get people to your location. Same with promoting your business locally. That ends up, if you're trying to get people in like a certain radius around your area. Building your business, I would try to avoid unless you're going to use that for branding and brand awareness. Now, brand awareness is going to be really, really important for all of you. Build Your Business has those sorts of actions in it. And get more website visitors, obviously. This one would be what I would promote in terms of getting people to come to an event. So if you're trying to get people to come to an event, you're going to be building a landing page for that event on your website. And you're going to have a call to action on that page. And that call to action is, sign up to get your tickets, donate to us, look at our auction items, that sort of stuff. And then now, the Facebook pixel. And this is how you are being followed around the internet. So whenever you go, if you notice, like to let's say you're looking for something on Amazon, and you don't put it in your cart, or you do put it in your cart and you leave Amazon, and then like a couple hours later you're scrolling through your Facebook feed and your Amazon product pops up. Well, that's because they have the pixels on the pages, and they're reminding you, and they're able to do it because you accepted that cookie. So let me go here. So the Facebook pixel, if you do not know what it is, and I'm using the one that I created for N4N just as an example here. When you go into business pages, there's all these tools. It'll say add tools and business tools, and there's something in there called data sources. When you click on that, it'll say create a pixel. So you just want to follow the directions for the pixel, and it's actually very, very easy. If you have an IT person to install it, that's the best thing you're going to do. Or if you understand how to install these codes onto your website. The biggest thing about the pixel is that you need to have it on every page of your website. That is how you're going to gather the information of people coming to your website. And what you're gathering, obviously, is their IP addresses. And then from there, you're going to create a custom conversion. So there's events on the bottom there that I have for N4N, which is people coming into the contact page, and then people on a certain page that I have. And so if you've noticed, when I did this, and I built this probably a few days ago, I had in the past month, because you can, on the top of that graphic, you see it says last 28 days. In the past month, there have been 844 people that have gone to the page that I'm tracking. And then 18 people have gone to the contact page. So from there, when I'm going to create an ad, I can go back and hit those people again. So here is a custom conversion. The custom conversions on Facebook basically mean how do you want your potential quote lead, so let's say guest for your fundraiser, to convert on your page. What are the options? You could email sign up, donate, sign up for the event and create a complete, registration form, or view content. So the last one is when people who came to the page but didn't fill out a form or donate. So those 4 things that you will create as your custom conversion are then how you can go after a certain amount of time to hit those people again for your ad. You can also then, you have them in your system for about up to 180 days to go and hit them with ads. So one of the suggestions that I always make is you might want to do an ad earlier, maybe, a few months earlier, about who you are and get people to come to a page. And then you can hit those people with the ad for your fundraiser and send them to the page that you've created for your fundraiser. What these rules are, and you're looking at this and you're like, oh my God, what does this all mean? When you put the URL keywords here, such as an event or contact, so down where it says rules, the custom conversion must meet all these rules. So that, did they go to this page? Did they click on something? That is allowing you to grab the right information you want. Because you don't always want to get everybody into that may have clicked on your ad. Let's say you've hit 20,000 people, they've gone to it. Well, 20,000 people aren't going to be coming to your event. People that have gone a little bit further in from the ad are the ones that you want to hit because you know that they are more interested. On the bottom there, you're going to see enter conversion value. And this is if you have sat down and determined how much a donor means to your nonprofit, as in how much does the average donor spend with you yearly, if you have that. The conversion value is usually mainly for businesses and when they're purchasing things, or when I was working with dental offices, the conversion value would be how much does a patient for a year, how much money does that mean for you? Okay, so here is creating a custom website audience. Once you have your pixel in the right place to capture anyone, as I just said, who's come to your website in a certain amount of days. So if you're looking at this, it says anybody who meets the following criteria, all website visitors in the past 30 days, or you can click on that and you can change it to people who've hit this certain page. You can include people, exclude people, and then you name your audience, and then you can use these audiences for different ads. 180 days is the max, as I mentioned before, to retarget, and then you would have to start over. But usually I don't go out 180 days for these things. I'm usually looking at about a 60-day out. Because if you're not, posting a lot and or doing a lot of advertising, people are really going to forget why they may have clicked on you 180 some days ago. So these are the other custom audiences that you can use in here. So you can create a custom audience, as I showed you, from your website. You can create a custom audience from your customer list. So that is your email list. If you have an app, you can gather people who have used your app. So if you're using any of the TD Station's weather apps, whenever you click on it, you can then go back and tag and hit them with ads. Offline activity is for people who, and this is a hard one, but this is for people who interact with you once they've left Facebook, if they've called you. So that there is a way to gather that information. And you're using the Facebook sources over here. So like your Instagram account, anybody who's interacted with your Instagram account, or a video, or your page, or you've created a lead form. If you've never created a lead form, it'd be the same way as getting email information from your website. Let's see. All right. So this is, if you have never done this before, I highly suggest taking a look at your email list and uploading it into your audio, your settings, your advertising settings on Facebook. So what does that mean? You're assuming that people that have giving you their emails are using the same email to log into Facebook. So when you upload it, Facebook usually takes a few hours, goes through it, and the people whose emails match, they get pushed through. This is where the value of a donor comes in. You could build a lookalike audience. So what this means is, let's say you have a 5,000 or 10,000 person email list, and you put it up, and you get 7,000 people use it, and you know that a donor to you each year, is, let's say, about $1,000. Facebook can take a look at the emails and see what that audience does on Facebook, like what news sites they go to, who they interact with, what pages they're coming from to get onto Facebook. And they average it out to other people who are not on your mailing list, but who look like that person. So if it's people in the area that are philanthropists, or they interact with a lot of nonprofits, or there's 10 or 20 people that are into some sort of sports. Like, what Facebook is then doing is making an audience that can be pushed with them, and that expands where your ad goes. Lookalike audiences is something that you can play around a lot with, and it can become very, very daunting, but it can expand your audience, your reach, and get you new people to interact with your nonprofit. My biggest suggestion here is clean your list before uploading. So that's going to mean that it's going to take a lot of time. Like, if people have not interacted with you in a while, you may want to take them off. If you've sent emails out and you get a lot of bounce back, like the emails don't work anymore, you're going to want to take them off. This is if you have a huge email list and you haven't yet partitioned it out into what people are interested in with your nonprofit. For Geo's Garden, it's simple. We really have special needs kids, and that and families. That's really about it. But other nonprofits, when you have all these different things that you do, and people are interested in this but not this, you don't want to really have them in the same email list. Now, for events, that's different. You're going to want to combine everybody. But let's say you're only having an event, or you're only having something that interests this group and not this group. You want to make sure your email lists are separated and cleaned up. The more information you have, by the way, the better it is. So you'll notice on there it says email, phone number, mobile advertiser ID. I really don't use the Facebook page user ID. That will come up if the people have allowed that onto their Facebook's privacy settings. I would definitely say you want city and state and zip and gender and age, if you have that on your list. Okay, so this is where we get into the really, really fun part about building your ad. And you're building ad sets. So an ad set on Facebook is essentially a way where you can create different ads for the same campaign. So if I have a campaign for an event coming up, and I want to test different ads, I'll create different ad sets. So what that means is essentially, one ad I'm going to target this sort of group of people. With this other ad, I'm going to target this sort of these people. This other ad, I'm going to target all of them. And then you can take a look and see which ads are working the best. I'm going to go here. I'm going to kind of like walk through this. So this is where I believe you can see it. Is everyone looking where it says "Good evening, Ron"?
Yeah, we can see it, Ron.
Great, thank you. I have not, but I know it's upstairs somewhere.
No, it's not.
Okay. So if you'll notice on the side over here, this is where you can get to all your different places. And then we can go in to creating the ad. So I chose one of my clients here, Blue Chip Barber Club, to just kind of go through the process. So this is the campaign, and you name it, and then you come in and you look at you look at your ad set, and what your ad set is, who are the people that you're targeting. And so in this ad set, I'm targeting, and this one I believe was only men 18 to 55 years old. And then let's see here. I think I'm jumping ahead, but it's easier this way. Then the ads itself. So this is where we would come in and create the ad. Now, budgeting wise, I have always, if I'm looking around just Dane County, for most of my clients, $500 gets me a lot for most of the goals I talked about up there. So
Hey, Ron, can I
this one
interrupt
you'll
you
notice
quick?
it was yes.
Sorry, we've got a question that came in. I think it's relevant to the right now. How do you set up multiple nonprofits advertising account under one Facebook business profile? I know this was problematic when it was run through Ads Manager. Have a response to that? You're either deep in thought or you've frozen on us. Oh. I'm going to see if I can get Ron back here somehow. I do want to encourage you to all to continue sending questions through the chat. If you have them, I'll try and monitor them the best I can.
Hello.
Ron, you back?
I think I made it. I think I made it. Well,
All right.
school is starting in the house, so
Internet usage is on overload.
Yeah, it's just an overload, but I'm gonna start shutting some people off on here. So what was the question? Because I missed
Yeah,
it.
so how do you set up multiple nonprofits advertising account under one Facebook business profile? I know this was problematic when it was run through Ads Manager. Do you have a response to that?
So the question is having one, you have one ads thing and you want to put a bunch of different nonprofits in there.
Hannah, don't be afraid to unmute yourself. I think you have that capability.
Yeah, I was just curious if you're running social campaigns for a lot of different nonprofits. I've had problems where it charges the wrong credit card, where you can have one credit card in there for a 30-day period. So I was just curious how you set it up, if they have to have all separate business accounts. I don't know. I've never figured it out.
So what I do on the agency level is when I'm in my agency's business settings, and so let me see if I can come back here and share again. Which one do I want to? Okay. I'm actually going to come over into here and let's see. So if I'm looking at all the pages that I run on here and I go to my ad accounts, for all those pages, I've created separate ad accounts. And then that way on each of those ad accounts is where I would put each credit card. Is that, I believe that's what you're asking, are we having issues with?
Yeah, I've always had issues with that, but maybe I was setting up the ad accounts wrong. But yeah, that's what I was trying to do. So should just keep trying.
Yeah, afterwards, my information will be out there and people can email me, and I'm more than willing to talk with you and help you out on some of these things. Facebook, for some odd reason, doesn't make it as easy as they should to do this stuff, which is silly. I'll help you out with it. I would probably need to see your screen and see what it's telling you.
Yeah, awesome. Thank you.
You're welcome. You're welcome. So, before when I was saying, we're talking about like the campaigns and stuff like that. I'm looking at an old campaign here from August of 2018 for Blue Chip Barber Club. So you name it. Buying type is auction. I always try to do an auction. And then the campaign objective was brand awareness. So I chose this one because brand awareness is a great one to use for an event. And it's also probably the cheapest way to get people to learn about your event and possibly click on it to get to your website. And I can't reiterate this enough. You can use Facebook to get people to your website. At that point, it's up to you to have a page built that people will want to interact with and give you their information. So that's why you can use brand awareness and hit tons and tons and tons of people, and then make sure that you're going to get the right people that are going to fill out that ad. Now I'm going to go to the ad set. So this is where you figure out how many people you're going to reach and the right audience. So on this one, I used a saved audience from Blue Chip Barber Club, and that saved audience I had created. So what did I want? I wanted anyone, and it should have been it was shaves and haircuts. They also did want women, even though it's a barbershop. 1855, and they were interested in all of these things. So, and many of you, I would hope, have kind of played around with audience settings. And there's so much information that we've given Facebook over all these years that they put you into buckets, and that's how you're seeing all these ads, or as well as if you've clicked on anything, you're being remarketed to. Automatic placements. I usually do use automatic placements, but for this ad, I was doing separate ones for Instagram and for Facebook. So I was manually choosing them. Facebook automatic placements, I do suggest they're not going to try and screw you over and like put your ad where you're going to get people who you don't really want clicking on there to click. But the different things that you're going to create in the content side are going to determine where you are. So this is in our reading an article, and your thing's going to pop up, or messages, or if people are searching for you on Facebook, in stream is when they're watching the videos, as I mentioned. You can the ad can pretty much hit wherever you want it to hit. Now, I chose for this one ad delivery, and so this event I chose as ad call lift. What I wanted to do with this ad, and I believe when you're trying to get people to come to fundraisers or events or anything like that, you want them to see your ad a good number of times. I'm sure many of you have heard like the number of touches. Like, how many touches does it take for you to interact with a brand? It could be anywhere between 4 or 7. Usually, you're not going to see an ad unless it's something that you really, really want. You're going to click on it the first time you see it. So when I'm doing a brand awareness ad, I want the ad to be seen in a month at least 4 to 7 times so that I can get them there to click at least on that 4th or 7th time. All right, now I'm going to go to the ad itself. So where the ad would be going is Facebook and Instagram account, and then the ad setup. So for this ad, I chose a carousel, which is essentially numerous photos. videos, by the way, will get the most clicks. No doubt about it. Short videos are going to get even more clicks. Depending on what you're trying to do. So for a fundraiser, I mean, if you have like a 30-second ad, that's actually going to be pretty good. A minute ad, people will usually stick through, but on average, people are not going to watch anything longer than a minute, and I would say longer than 30 seconds, you may have some issues. But people will watch videos, and so that's something that you would want to consider with your staff on creating a good video for your event. The instant experience is only for people that are on their phones. And that is when you click on the ad and your phone completely fills up and scrolls. Thank you. My son turned off his computer for me, so hopefully I don't have any more issues here. That's where your screen is this entire thing with all these images, and you can slide forward and backwards and up and down. And that is, if you have something where there's lots of photos and you want to have a lot of interaction, and you think that your people, that your donors would be really, would like that and would think, oh man, this is cool. You can do an instant experience. They take a little bit longer to create and build, but Facebook will walk you through it if you go that route. And the playable source file, this is for if you've created a video game. And so the ad pops up and it's like, oh, you can play the game and for like 10 seconds and see if you want to purchase the game. So I don't think many of you are going to be doing that unless you're going to have a game or something for your fundraiser. And then it lets you pick your different your content. So I sent it here just to Facebook just to show you what it looks like. And so this was the ad that I had. Remember, no one's going to see this, but your admins. But I was trying to do, different. Really, they were trying to get people to come in for the shaves. Sorry about that. And that was me getting a shave. So each of those different pictures clicks through to the same place I wanted them to go. It wasn't different pages. You can set up different photos to go to different pages, by the way, which if it's, you don't want to do that for if it's an event, but if you are trying to do a brand awareness to get people into the different categories of what your nonprofit does, you can do that with a carousel ad. All right, let me go back to this. And I know I'm probably going pretty fast, but I think there's only about 15 minutes left. This was just showing like building ad content. Again, think about what you want to interact with, and what images you have, or how you can get interest. So people will click on the ad, and the different placements. You got to make sure that it's going to look okay in the different placements. So Facebook will show you what it's going to look like in the different platform or different placements on it. And then up on the top right corner, where that arrow is, when you click on that, you can preview it anywhere. You can send a preview to other people on their phone and stuff, so that everyone can kind of take a look at it. And then last, well, not really last, but analytics, your insights. What are the most important KPIs for you? So I choose these three first. These are the metrics that I use with most of my business clients, and I would say you should look at these as well. So reach is how many people saw the ad, and Facebook still estimates it. It's not, so it says 21,812. It could be a little bit higher or a little bit lower, but I'm not talking like thousands, but like in, probably in the hundreds. So impressions, though, are how many times on the screen. So if I've seen an ad and then I come back again on the same day, and see that ad, it will be counted twice as an impression. Reach is most important, because while it's cool that you had all these impressions and stuff, reach is essentially the people who you actually uniquely saw it. Frequency, this ad only got 3.84. I'd love it to be 4, but just like when you're running ads on radio and television, frequency is really, really important as to the number of people, how many saw. And again, from my what I've been doing stuff, 4 to 7 is really, really good. It's hard to get a frequency of 7 if you're trying to hit a lot of people. If you are limiting your who you're sending it to, then you could probably get it 7 or 10 times, but you want to be very, very careful. And this is going to sound really, really weird, but just because there are, let's say 100,000 people in your audience, you don't necessarily want 100,000 people to see your ad. If you're going to be spending $500 on an ad, you want to look around probably 30 to 50,000 people in your audience. That way, your frequency should be around 5, and you're really hitting the right people. Clicks, how many call to actions on the ad? So when clicks all is essentially, did they click on the post itself? Did they click on the URL? Did they click on the photo? Did they click on the carousel to go back and forth? Did they click to watch the video? The click-through rate is how many people actually went to your website. It's different for different industries. So 0.20% is average for nonprofits. Anything higher than that, that was a really good ad, and you're going to want to try and mimic it again in the future. And then cost per click, obviously the lower the better, and 19 cents is average for nonprofits in a brand awareness campaign. Again, if you're trying to get leads, it's going to be up in the probably $1.50 or $2 range. Sometimes it can go higher. On LinkedIn, if you're trying to get leads, sometimes that's $14 a click. That's where, it can get really, really expensive. So there's a little bit about content tips and boosting. And I'm sure a lot of you, spent, a few bucks here and there to boost. I am a big of boosting. For my clients who agreed to it, usually I add like a 50, if they're not running ads, I will do a $50 a month boosting of posts. Because essentially, like if you're going to do it a week, $10 a week is fine. And those are posts that are going to be really, really limited, trying to get people to come to your website to learn more about you, more of a branding thing. You want to remember, we don't need to post every day anymore. I have changed my system to posting about 3, maybe 4 times a week. Take time to create your content. You don't have to be, constantly pushing stuff out. You used to, but the algorithm, Facebook's algorithm changes twice a year. And when you're going through your insights, you'll notice sometimes that if you're pushing too often, like more than once a day, your stuff is less seen. Share other information, and don't always be pushing you. There's other stuff that you can talk about on your pages. And also, you can go to other community pages and like them as your page. So like for Nick, I will go as Numbers for Nonprofits and go to his clients' pages and like their posts and share their posts through N4N's page. So, for you, it might not be sharing what other nonprofits are doing, or maybe, you want to, but it's also going and liking what they're doing. Be the community member. For your fundraiser, make sure you create an event. You can also spend some money to push that event, But Facebook actually pushes any posts with dates and will push events to your fans. You can obviously you can already invite your fans, but Facebook will then, like, a couple days later, send it again if they haven't signed up. Remember, you can go back every month into your insights, take a look and see which of your content worked the best. So, look at your reach, your impressions. If you did do a boost, how many people clicked on that post? If you didn't, how many paid clicks were? There's tons and tons of insights on Facebook for like creating monthly reports and stuff, where you can look at your own KPIs for your own nonprofit needs. But remember this, you can reuse posts from, a few months earlier if it worked well. People are not going to your page all that often and scrolling through and saying, oh, hey, 3 months ago you did this same post. That doesn't happen. People aren't really going to your Facebook page a lot once they've liked your page. The people that are really going to your page most of the time are new people to determine more about you. Unless your post is telling people to go to the page itself to, click on something there, but you don't really need to do that. On Instagram, you can't put URLs in there that are click through, and so you have to tell people to go to your profile page and click on that link, and you have to change that link for certain things. But really, with Facebook, there's not a lot of people are coming back to your page to check stuff out. So don't be afraid to read posts that you've already used before. That is my information. There's my phone number. Text me first or send me an email to there. And if there are any questions, go right ahead.
Ron, I have a question. So, you talking right now, kind of like sometimes when I talk with people about accounting, it's kind of going over my head, right? So, yes, I'm plugging you a little bit here. How does working with somebody like you work to help manage this sort of thing for an organization?
So I believe that anybody can learn how to do this and do it themselves. So if you have someone on staff that this is their job and they're trying to learn things on each platform and stuff, I can come in and spend some consulting time once or twice a month to say, okay, let's try this, build this, do it this way. And I believe that that's probably the easiest way for nonprofits to do it. But time-wise is what kills everybody. And this takes time. I mean, to build an ad can sometimes take me 2 or 3 hours, depending on what the goal is, what I'm trying to do, whether or not the content's going to work. And most staffs, I'm sure, are not built like that, where sometimes it's the executive director that's trying to do this, and who has 3 hours to do this, and then they got to go home and try and do it at home. So that's when people like me, like, I'll pitch myself, I can come in and do ads for you, and work with you to build the right ad and to hit the right people, just on a contract basis, not a, like, if you have an event coming and you need me to work for a month to get it taken care of, that's the kind of stuff that I would do. But in the end, though, I would like to, especially for nonprofits, would like to show you all how you can do it so that you guys can keep your money and not pay me to do it.
Thanks. We've got a question in the chat here. The nonprofit I work with has a community page. Can that be switched to a business page?
You'd have to start over if you started as a community page. Normally, what you'd want to do is start a business page first and then do a community page. There's a few local nonprofits that have done that, and their community pages are very, very successful. And so those are the people that are going to be they're joining your community. So, like, let's say your page has 1,000 fans. and your community page has maybe like 200 or whatever, those are your evangelists. I mean, those are the people that really want to be part of what you're doing. And so that's where you're granularly getting your community together. But unfortunately, you cannot go backwards from a community page to create a business page to run advertisements and things like that.
Hey, Tyler, how can people view this video after today?
So we'll send out a link. We'll see if Ron is also willing to share the slides for the notes. That's up to you, Ron, but we will circulate a link. The video will be online and people can use that link to access the recording of this.
Great.
Great. Do you put you on the spot? Do you have a winner selected yet, or is that after?
Indeed, I do. I pulled a winner at 8:50, and Mary Elizabeth Pollard has won an Amazon gift card. So we have your email address, Mary, and we can send that to you virtually.
Awesome.
Congratulations.
Well, thanks for everybody being part of this. If any of you are N4N clients right now, also be sure that you're getting back to Tyler with your sock order. For those of you that don't know, we are giving away, in lieu of cakes, which we usually do for a customer appreciation party, and we also missed our summer party at Porta Alba downtown. We're combining those budgets, if you will, and giving socks to our clients, and then that's going to lead to a pair of socks that we'll be able to give into the community through the Bombas 1-for-1 program. So if anybody's hasn't gotten back to Tyler and they're a client sitting on this call right now, please make sure you do so. With that, Ron, I know you'll be available, and why don't you throw your contact info up there one more time?
Here, I don't know if you can see it. Hold on a second here.
And beyond being an expert in this, Ron's a pretty cool dude. So, you know, he's easy to work with. Just stay away from politics.
Thanks, Nick.
which is true of everybody.
That is true. That is true. Well, hopefully it starts to calm down now.
Yes,
we'll see.
Indeed. All right, everyone. Have a great day. Thanks for being part of this, and we'll hope to see you back January, Tyler, right?
Believe so.
All right. Thanks. Bye now.
Thanks, everybody.
Thank you, everyone.